Hello and welcome to another World of Warplanes video with me, Sir 10 Death. This video is taking a look at another multi-role fighter. I recently reviewed the British Hurricane 2 and I've decided to take a back step and look at a tier 4 one today, and we're looking at this one. It's the Russian Polikarpov I-16 late model, which as you probably guessed is basically the same as the I-16 early model, which I reviewed a couple of months ago with upgraded guns. So I will put a link to that previous video in right here right now, and you can have a look at that one if you want to. So as ever, there's going to be some gameplay going on, and I'll be talking about what this plane does well and what it doesn't do so well as the game progresses. So let's have a chat about this then. It's a tier 4 multi-role fighter, and multi-roles mean that they're essentially fighters that can support the ground attack a bit. Some are better at it than others. Personally, I tend to play these more as fighters, and I just use my ground ordnance occasionally from time to time. This one is not equipped with bombs, it's equipped with rockets, but we'll chat about those in a little while. So hit point wise, well, it only has 140. 140 hit points at tier 4 I think is a little bit lacking, and that makes it a little bit vulnerable to getting knocked out of the sky quite easily. So it's not the worst, but it's certainly not the best either. So that's something you've got to be aware of, is you don't have a lot of hit points to play with. Maneuverability rating, however, for a multi-role is quite impressive. It's 75 when it's stock, which is alright. When it's upgraded, it actually drops by 1 point to 74. That's purely because bigger cannons make it a slightly more awkward plane to fly, but it isn't noticeable. You can't tell that 1 point of difference at all, in my opinion. It has a turn time of 9.6 seconds, which is really nice. That competes with most light fighters, and it's quite a good plane at getting in and out of combat. Suggested altitude rating of about 600 meters. I'm flying well above that at the moment because I'm busy engaging these defensive planes as best I can, and I'm risking stalling, which is just trying that out because it has a stall rating of 100 kilometers per hour, and it was pretty much bang on the 100 I hit there when it almost stalled. Its speed, it's not a particularly fast plane. Normally it will do around 260 kilometers per hour, and when they upgrade the engine, it will do about 280. I'm just using the rockets here, which is just going to talk about that outboard ordnance now. It comes equipped with 6 outboard rockets, 6 RS-82s, which are ground rockets. They are designed not for shooting things out of the air, but for helping to knock out ground targets. Each one can do about 450 damage, which means if you get all 6 on target, that's 2,700 damage, which is quite hefty. So they can be used to support a ground attack quite effectively, but you can see from the bottom of my screen there, they have quite a long reload. Also, when the guns are upgraded, which these are, you can help to attack some of the lighter ground targets with them, because the guns, they're okay once they're upgraded. In its stock form, it really isn't good enough to take on ground, not with the guns anyway. The rockets are fine, but the guns aren't. The stock guns then are 4 7.62mm machine guns, which are okay for dogfighting, but they're not good enough for ground at all, as I've said. But you can upgrade 2 of them on the wings, which you can see on mine. It's just a turn though, there's a turn around there, you can see them poking out, into 2 20mm cannons. And those 2 20mm cannons, they can do quite, that was 20mm by the way, not 20-meter cannons. That would be very impressive. They can do quite a lot of damage, and therefore you can use them to support the ground attack. So, what can we compare this to? Well, there's not a lot of multi-role fighters around at tier 4. I just went through the tech tree and had a look. There is another Russian one, but it's a special plane, the I-207/4, which was available last November as part of Wargaming's birthday celebrations. They gave it out to players then by doing a simple mission. So if you've got that, by the way, it's a pretty good little plane. There is a German premium plane, the Arado AR-197, which I haven't got yet, but I will get round to getting it at some point and trying out. And then there are 3 tech tree planes, but none of them are Russian other than this one, of course. There's 2 Americans, the F-2A Buffalo and the P-43 Lancer, and there's 1 British, the Hurricane 1. So I will do reviews of those 3 planes in the forthcoming days and weeks, of course. But let's get back to talking about this one then. I think it's quite a nice plane to play. I raved a lot about the I-16E, the early model at tier 3. And as I said at the start of this video, this is basically an extension of that plane. It's the same plane with better guns on the outside of it. Basically, it's got those 20mm cannons, which make it more biddable at playing in combat. So, I mean, as the game's gone on, it hasn't been a stunning game. I'm on just short of 3,000 combat points so far. Unfortunately for me, you often will find this yourself. I don't wish to sound arrogant or rude to anybody else who's playing the game, but you can sometimes find that you're the only person on the team who really has a bit of a clue of what they should be doing, and the others just go for a bit of a fly around. And that often becomes very, very prevalent when you look at the scores, because I think this is not a particularly good game for me. I'm on just over 3,500 combat points, but the last time I looked at the scores, everybody else was still in the hundreds, which means you're pretty much in a one-man mission to try and win the game, and that is borderline impossible. It's very hard to do, especially with a multi-role or a fighter. If you've got something like a bomber or a ground attack, you can cause a lot more influence to capping areas, but even then you've got your work cut out trying to do it on your own. So I'm on nearly 4,000, or just past the 4,000 combat points mark there now. I've got somebody on my tail here, so I'm trying to shrug them off. I had mentioned earlier that this has got a 9.6 second turn time, so that's not bad at all. You can get out of trouble quite easily. Those 20mm cannons, by the way, if you get them on targets, I'm just trying to do here, they can absolutely decimate people. That guy there, he didn't stand a chance. And I'm just doing what I tend to do in fighters and multi-roles, dotting from target to target, trying to put the pain onto them. If I can get on the tail of somebody and stay there, I will happily do so, because this chap here is, unfortunately my guns just overheated a little bit there because I got a little bit overexcited. And I'm just trying to get rid of this guy here before I get any more problems of my own. I should say, by the way, this footage I actually recorded some time ago now, probably about a month ago maybe. I have taught myself to be a lot more efficient with my gun temperatures than I was in my earlier days. But yeah, I mean, I've just passed 7,000 combat points. I'm not really having any problems dealing with other planes with this, and it's quite a nice little plane to play. It's quite okay. Its main drawbacks in it is its lack of hit points. That's a bit of a problem for it, and the stock guns are not particularly great. But once you upgrade those, which only takes a couple of thousand experience, it can be quite supportive of the ground attack, and it can certainly act as an out-and-out fighter and dogfight with the best of them, to be honest. This game is very much going away from us here. The enemy have capped the areas much more efficiently than we have. They're on over 400 combat points, superiority points. We're on 180. But if you look at those scores there, that's what I was talking about. I'm on 7,500 here. The next nearest person's on about 2,000. So when you're in a position like that, all you can do, it sounds selfish and not a team player, all you can do is try and maximise your own personal gains from this game and try and get what you can out of it, because you're really not going to win when nobody else is really doing their share of the work. Often that's because they're bots, and the bots, well, I don't quite know what the artificial intelligence or lack of intelligence they have programmed into them, but even the human players often are still learning the game at these tiers. They're beginners, and therefore they are not quite sure of what they should be doing. That guy was trying to ram me. Naughty fellow. I'll just get out of the way in time. Unfortunately now I've just got some damage to my wing. I'm trying to get rid of this person here, but I've got somebody on my tail, and I do get rid of him, but it's going to be at the cost of myself, I think. Just hang on a little bit more if I can. Try and desperately stay in the game now, but got wing damage and I've got very few hit points left, so I'm just going to try and shoot this person. But look how fast those 20mm cannons have taken this person down. Didn't quite get rid of him, and it was nice 17 that took me out of the game there. So I finished on, what am I on here? Let's have a look. I'm on over 10,000 combat points. I finished first in the team with a Class 4 award. It's just got the hangar. This is Tier 4 and it's not premium, and it's got 65,000 credits, which is quite nice. But yeah, I was the only one on the team really performing here. It's a bit irritating when I performed much better than people on the other team as well, but still we lost the game. So the I-16L then, yeah, it's quite a good little fun plane to play. I would recommend giving it a try. It's quite a nice way to go down the Russian multi-role fighter line. As ever, thanks very much for watching this video. Cheers now. Goodbye.